Hey there guys, so today we have another review and this is a beer from Fiddlehead Brewing Company. They're right outside of Burlington, Vermont, and this is their second Fiddle double IPA. Yeah, they're a pretty hype brewery. They're probably the fourth most popular hoppy brewery in Vermont, next to obviously the big ones being Alchemist, Lawson's, and Hill Farmstead. So this is an 8.2% double IPA coming out from them. I've had it before, but a really awesome friend was able to grab me a can, so I'm very excited to finally review it for you guys. So let's dig in. So the beer pours out, and wow, a really hazy, dark orange amber kind of color. Almost reminds me of like a red sun or something. It's very reddish. Does not look like a Vermont double IPA to me, which is usually that kind of really straw, pale, golden yellow kind of color. But let's get the aroma on this. This immediately reminds me of Sip of Sunshine, which I also consider to be sort of a West Coast kind of double IPA instead of a Vermont style. I get a big pop of juicy red grapefruit. It's sweet. There's a underlying kind of sweet pine kind of action, bready malt. Some grassiness, a little bit of dank, a little bit of herbaceous. A touch of floral. Yeah, a familiar kind of aroma. Again, it's sweet pine. It's very reminiscent of a Sip of Sunshine. Cheers. That's quite nice. Falls on the palate. As I said, again, reminds me more of a West Coast style. Up front, you're hit with a kind of grapefruit sweet zestiness. Follows through with again that kind of sugar-coated pine kind of quality. There's an underlying base note of the hops of kind of this grassy herbaceous quality. Sugary sweetness throughout. Reminds me a little bit of Pliny the Elder because of that kind of sugary sweetness that pops up front but subsides pretty quickly. Pretty dry on the finish. Yeah, nice and dry on the finish. You get a medium bitterness of kind of pine, grassiness, herbaceous, herbal, yeah. With that fruit quality, that big pop of juiciness and sweetness up front almost reminds me a little bit of something like a orange marmalade. It leans a little bit towards a sweet mango and peach kind of quality, but I would say in general kind of a grapefruit or orange kind of marmalade kind of sweetness. Again, very much drinks like a West Coast style to me because of that kind of piney quality throughout, that big sugary sweetness. Again, very reminiscent of Sip of Sunshine, and also something like Pliny the Elder. But very good for West Coast style, just not exactly there for me because I personally prefer the kind of dry, bubblegummy, yeasty, tropical Vermont double IPAs. I will say the beer is dangerously drinkable. Reminds me of Pliny the Elder, again, for that reason. It does not drink like 8.2. You get this kind of initial attack of sweetness, but it, again, falls away very quickly. And I'm left now actually thinking about it, kind of a tea-like bitterness and drying on the back end. Tea drying. But very nice. Drinks more like a 7% beer, just really crisp and clean. But for me, again, not my perfect kind of double IPA. This beer is quite hyped. It's right outside of the top 100 on the Beer Advocate Top 250. This beer gets a 99. Not there for me. For me, very good beer. 94. That's a big drop actually, but it's just, you know, it's a style preference for me. I'll go with a 95. Yeah, 95. I mean, 95 is a very high rating, but for me, that's a huge drop from 99. Just again, not exactly how I like my double IPAs. Their Mastermind double IPA that comes in a 12 ounce is something I prefer, a little bit more tropical, much more towards a Vermont style. And speaking about if you want a fourth Vermont, you know, hoppy brewery, I would actually choose Foley Brothers over Second Fiddle. So Foley Brothers, I'm a big fan of them. But let me know if you've had some Fiddlehead before. Great brewery, great beer. Until next time, guys. Cheers. Later.